So part of me has been thinking a lot about this channel, what I really wanted to do with YouTube, and just everything going on in my life as of late. And while I haven't really posted anything on this channel for quite a long time, I feel like I want to come back to it, and I really would like to refocus. And I've said that so many times, but I really wanted to take this video today to talk some real talk to everybody about where I've been, why I really stopped covering Dragon Ball on YouTube and focused on other things with Real Talk, and also just in general what my stance is towards not only Dragon Ball but anime and coverage from that perspective in the future. Let's jump right into it. Okay, so I've been thinking about this a lot recently, and if you've been listening to this channel for any real stretch of time, really, you guys know, especially from when I first started, I used to do a lot of videos with, D-Free, and then I did some videos with Rhyme Style, a lot of videos with MJXTV, and then also World King Kanji, Dimsy's Domain, and just so many different other people. Of course, I'm still doing videos with Geekdom 101 every now and then, especially on his channel, where we talk about pitches and ideas for future Dragon Ball Super movies or just arcs or whatever. It's mostly just for fun, but the point still is that I really enjoyed doing that. In fact, one of the biggest reasons I was so, motivated and able to do multiple different videos every single day for basically over a year on this channel wasn't really just because Dragon Ball Super had so much stuff to talk about. It was also the community that I gained, the friendships that I gained from Dragon Ball Super even being on the air. I can remember, and I'm sure a lot of you can as well, when Dragon Ball Super was announced. It was exciting. It was something that, oh my goodness, I'm going to be able to see Dragon Ball when it's airing, subbed. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see this. And I'm going to be able to watch all of these personalities on YouTube that I had come to know, love, and respect. And at that point, I wasn't even anticipating doing my own channel or covering it or just anything at all. But watching those first couple episodes, being just as excited as I was for it, the retellings of Battle of Gods and Fukkatsu no F, yes, they weren't ideal for the entire fandom, that's true, but just seeing that stuff, getting excited about it, being hyped every single week and seeing all these people put out videos, but nothing really akin to what I wanted to talk about, right? There was no one covering the stuff that I wanted to really dive into. So I thought I had something to say, I'm going to say it, and heck, I'm going to go for broke, and I'm going to try to become friends and talk to the people that I truly admired on this platform. And lo and behold, after all was said and done, I accomplished that goal. And there was a part of that time where we were doing so many videos with the people that I became friends with, the people that I watched on a very consistent basis, and Dragon Ball Super was just chugging along and getting more and more progressively popular as we got into the Universe 6, the Champa tournament. The manga became kind of an afterthought in terms of the anime, so it was easier to keep up in that regard, and it was moving every week quicker than the manga could. Then we also got into the Future Trunks arc. Everyone was excited about that. Then into the Tournament of Power, which exploded the fandom. I don't think I've ever seen Dragon Ball Super, or even just Dragon Ball in general, at least in this modern day, that popular. And ever since, I don't know if it's been that popular. Around that time, and remember, this was like more than a year. This was a very long stretch of time between the Universe 6 tournament starting and then all the way through the Tournament of Power, the end of Dragon Ball Super, and the hype for Dragon Ball Super Broly and just everything that's related to that. I got into such a groove with the people that I was speaking to on a weekly or even daily basis about Dragon Ball Super. Thoughts, opinions, theories, news breaks, all this other stuff that was capable of being talked about. And we did videos not just because we wanted to do videos, but because we wanted to talk about this with each other. We were having fun doing these long-form podcast discussions where it's just a bunch of friends talking after hours just about their favorite television show. And it's one of the things that made it the most exciting thing. And as I said on Twitter, that got a whole lot of flack the other day, the best experience I've ever had watching a Dragon Ball series. And as much as you want to sit there and argue quality, yes, Dragon Ball is better. Dragon Ball Z is even better than Dragon Ball Super. But I've never experienced what I experienced with Dragon Ball Super with any of the other series with Dragon Ball. And it's one of the reasons I absolutely love it, even to this day. I will always defend it for that. I would never have had any of this. I wouldn't have had my second channel. I wouldn't have this channel. I just wouldn't have anything, or even my appreciation or love for anything related to anime or manga or anything if it wasn't for Dragon Ball. And it wouldn't have been revitalized to the point that it is today without Dragon Ball Super. So that's one of the reasons I absolutely love that series, even though it's not the best quality anime that's ever existed. But then Dragon Ball Super ended. And myself, along with a lot of people that I know, just kind of dropped off. And that's not unrealistic. I mean, one of the things that everyone was talking about at that point, by the time that Dragon Ball Super was ending, a lot of people naysaying, saying the people who cover Dragon Ball are just going to fall off the face of the earth. And I guess if you were only following us on social media for Dragon Ball, that might be true in some cases, but we all moved to doing other things. We covered different aspects of Dragon Ball. We did different, like a lot of people did the what ifs. I've done a couple rewrites or just theories and general pitches, especially with Danny over the last couple of months, last year and a half really. And I moved on to cover other things on my second channel. I started that channel because I didn't want to just talk about Dragon Ball all the time. And with everybody losing confidence in Dragon Ball, with a lot of people deciding that they needed to find work elsewhere or do other things or work on other projects, there wasn't as many people online all the time just to talk about this stuff. And you couldn't really, if you're not talking with anyone, if all your friends are busy doing everything else in their lives at any given point of the day, you're no longer having conversations with those people. You're no longer capable of sitting around and talking with them for maybe like 30 minutes or something, trying to catch up with what they're doing in life and what they're working on and just everything in general. And then having maybe an hour or something to do one or two discussion videos for both of you. That's what we were doing pretty much every single night, and it was just a great way to relax and then also help build our brand, and people got really used to that stuff. But when that disappears and dries up, you have to figure out a different way to approach YouTube and a different way to approach some of the things that you absolutely love as a fan of this content or another. And that's one of the reasons I started my second channel, was because that was just going to be me. I like talking about Dragon Ball. I'm totally fine with having a Dragon Ball channel, but I wanted to focus on a channel that was just anything and everything that I wanted to talk about. And at that point, when Dragon Ball Super had nothing else going for it, I focused on that one. I focused on The Walking Dead, American Horror Story, the Saw franchise, any horror-related movie content, whether I can do box office videos or just anything related to my fandom and just me in general. That's what that channel is. And at this point, I'm not ashamed, even though it's smaller, to say that, yeah, that's my focus now. That's my biggest channel. That's the one that I enjoy doing the most. That isn't to say I've given up on this channel completely. I'm still trying to figure out my direction for it. I'm still trying to figure out how to approach YouTube with this channel in the best way possible. Let me put this as clear as I can for anyone who's even still listening to this, because it's becoming much more of a rant than I anticipated it being. But when you start something, I don't care what it is, there's a lot of doubt, a lot of self-loathing at that point. It was the exact same thing for me when I started this channel, because it's my first channel and because it's just solely based on Dragon Ball. I felt like I needed confidence, and that's one of the reasons I sought out the friends that I ended up having, and one of the reasons I did so many conversations with them. It was so much easier, it was so much more fun and energetic to just do a conversation with a friend than, do almost everything else that I've found draining for me as a creative person and not really the direction that I wanted to take my channel. I wanted to have fun with this. It's not a job. It's not something that I really wanted to do with my life. As long as I was having fun, it was totally okay. But when that dried up, I still wanted to do it, and I couldn't do it in the exact same way that I had been. And that's what started this kind of progression into less and less videos, at least on this channel, as I started doing more on the second channel. And that's been a huge thing. That's been a big learning curve for me, because there's a lot of things I would really like to do that are much more creative and much more centered on who I am and what I always wanted to do on this platform, but I just haven't worked up the courage to do them. It's a slow progress, and it's something that I need to definitely work on. And if you're still here, you're still listening to this, I really appreciate that, because I really should be posting more on all these channels. I really should be doing my best to make sure that I have something to give you guys if I'm going to keep promoting and keep talking about having this channel along with my second channel. So this kind of brings me to current day. I think I've gotten much better just talking by myself, creating a conversation and kind of trying to make it conversational for you guys listening to this, where you're trying to understand where I'm coming from and what I'm thinking about in terms of whatever video I put out, or just making it clear what's going through my head. And that to me is very important, but it's not really where I want to be as of right now. More than anything, I want to be doing more highly creative work, stuff that I can really be proud about, and maybe even branching out into something that's not Dragon Ball, that's more anime related or manga related. And because I just got done with the Texas bar exam, because I'm finally through with school, and I have maybe less time than ever at this point, but enough time where I can take enough hours, maybe 1 or 2 hours after every single day, to put together or at least work on a video for this channel or the other channel. I'm going to start really diving in to more content, not just Dragon Ball related, but other things. And because of that, I think I'm going to stop, just going to put away anime for right now. I'm going to completely focus reading manga and trying to stay on top of what's really popular. I've realized that that's taking so little time in comparison to watching a 30-minute anime for a series that I'm interested in, or something that someone tells me to watch, or something that's really popular, a classic even, that I've never really watched because I'm kind of late to this. So yeah, I just I feel like the only reason I'm doing this video as of right now, and just wanted to give everybody, the idea of what's going through my head, is I've had this conversation with a couple people as of late. I was just even talking to Dimsy and Kanji just a couple hours ago before I made this video, and I was telling them basically the exact same thing. The idea that this friend bubble, people who were there to talk about whatever, people you can count on for this thing that's a part of your life, even though it's just this small little segment of you that you guys are seeing of me or of them, that really dried up with Dragon Ball Super. And a lot of people talk about Dragon Ball Super's fandom and everything drying up. That's kind of true, but I feel like really we have to survive, or if you really want to do anything related to social media, be your own personality, or just in general want people to listen to your opinions on this, that, or the other, you have to focus primarily on talking about that issue. There's not a whole lot of things going on with Dragon Ball in terms of news or new and original content that's worth talking about, or remote quality, unless you're talking about the manga. You're talking about a little bit of news that comes out here and there, or maybe even Dragon Ball Heroes, which I'm not a fan of. I'm just going to throw that out there. And yeah, once that dried up, it was hard, and I got used to it. I got reliant on it. And I know if you've been watching me for a long time, obviously that was apparent, right? This guy is only doing these podcast type of discussions with his friends, and that's what this entire channel is all about. You might have liked it, you might not have liked it, but I always thought it was much more fun than, sitting down and trying to sound super smart, just being super casual and having a whole lot of fun speculating and theorizing about what's going to happen in Dragon Ball Super next week or the next week or whatever, So that dried up. My friends were kind of gone and busy doing other things. I had to kind of rely on myself, and I wasn't up to the challenge for a very long time. And because it wasn't my job, I didn't have to adapt or really force myself to do anything different, right? I could give up. I could go to another channel. I could talk about other things. But now that all of this is done, now that I've gotten much more comfortable talking to you guys alone, just in general, having a conversation with you, the listener, I feel like I'm ready to come back. I feel like I want to come back, and I feel like I have a new understanding and a new passion, not only for Dragon Ball, but also for anime, for manga, for other stories that I've so desperately wanted to get involved with and have conversations with people about, because I've heard nothing but good things. And that's what this entire video is about. I'm sorry I've been rambling and probably, just kind of repeating myself maybe a little in this video, but if you've gotten this far, I deeply appreciate it. I hope you guys are still here, even if it's not that much of you right now. I know that if I put in the time, I put in the effort, and I make sure to reinvent this in my own way, in my own time, then this channel can still be something. And I'm very, very happy for the future. I cannot wait to get involved with this again. And hopefully you guys will wish me luck. We can work on this together. Seriously, guys, thank you for listening. It's been real.